Good morning, children. Let us continue our lesson human digestion, how it is happening, and what are the different parts associated with, and what are the changes happening in different parts of the digestive system. The food, what changes are happening in the digestive system that we were discussing. So, when we keep the food in the mouth, it gets cut and crushed, masticated with the help of teeth. Then, so in the buccal cavity we have three pairs of salivary glands. So one below the tongue and one at the roof of the tongue, very much back, then one on either side of the ear. So three pairs of salivary glands are there. So first pair is said to be located on the sides of jaw, which we call it as submandibular, and second pair is located below the tongue, which we call it as sublingual, and on the either side of the ears we have parotid glands. So these salivary glands are secreting salivary juice, which is said to be one of the digestive juices, and it contains an enzyme called ptyalin or salivary amylase. So it is going to act on the food, and it helps in making the food little bit softer. Okay, so the crushing and grinding of the food is going to be happening with the help of teeth, and it is mixed with saliva, and it forms a slimy mass, which we call it as bolus. So the bolus, whichever is formed in the buccal cavity, it enters into the narrow tube, which we call it as esophagus, by the wave-like movement, which we call as peristaltic movement, and from the esophagus it enters into the stomach. Then stomach is a muscular sac-like organ, and it contains the gastric glands. So the gastric glands are secreting hydrochloric acid and pepsin enzyme. Pepsin enzyme. So this pepsin enzyme, whichever is produced by the gastric glands, is going to act on the digestion of or breaking of carbohydrates and protein molecules. Is it clear to you? And the food is storing in the stomach for a longer period of time, where the process of churning is going to happen. So now the food in the form of a slimy, soft slimy substance, where the carbohydrates and proteins are digested in the stomach, broken down. So that already broken down is called as a chyme. So now what you are understanding with that, chyme is formed in the stomach. Is it clear to children? Now what is going to happen here? The chyme, whichever is formed, it is going to enter into the small intestine. Is it clear to you? So where that stomach and small intestine are going to join. So where we observe the U-shaped tube, which we call it as the duodenum. So what that in the duodenum, what is happening to the food, and in the small intestine, what is the further process of digestion, how it is happening, that we are going to now discuss. So now here what is let us observe the diagram once. So the food from the esophagus, it entered into the stomach, which is said to be a sac-like structure. So now it forms as a U-shaped tube, and here we have a gland called pancreas, and here also we have another gland. So what is this gland? It is called liver, and it is said to be pancreas. So now here the pancreas is secreting digestive juices, which we call that digestive juice secreted by pancreas, pancreatic juice, and the liver is secreting a juice called bile juice. So now liver is a gland, it secretes bile juice. Bile juice. Is it clear to children? Then pancreas is also a gland. It is secreting pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice. So now, but this liver, largest gland of our body, is secreting bile juice, and this bile juice is acting on the fats. Okay, so different kinds of fatty food items we are going to consume. Is it not, children? So that largest molecules of that fats are going to be broken down to little bit simple form. That is breakdown of fats. Okay, breakdown of fats into simple form is happening because of liver which is secreting bile juice. Okay, so bile juice is not having any enzymes, no enzymes are there, and this bile juice is helping in breaking down the complex fats into simple form fatty acids. Is it clear to children? So ML, that process of breaking down of complex fats into simple fatty acids and glycerol or small fat globules is called as emulsification. Is it clear to children? That process is called as emulsification. Then now the pancreas also is secreting pancreatic juice. It contains different enzymes. They are opening into duodenum, and that is amylase, trypsin. Pancreatic juice is going to have the enzymes amylase, trypsin and lipase. Is it clear? So these are the three enzymes present in the pancreatic juice. They are going to act on the carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Is it clear to children? So carbohydrates and proteins and fats are going to be getting digested. Is it clear to you? So here, what is the function of liver and its secretion? Means the liver is secreting bile juice and it is releasing its bile juice into the duodenum. Is it clear to you? Then pancreas is also secreting its secretions of this pancreatic juice, which contains amylase, trypsin and lipase into this duodenum. Okay, so it is the first part of the end part of the stomach and the beginning part of the small intestine. Small intestine. Is it clear to children? It is the like this, it continues. The duodenum continues as a small intestine. So now the bile juice is going to act on the bile juice. It does not have enzymes, no enzymes. This bile juice is helping in breaking down of fats into small molecules or small globules. Fat globules are formed. So that process of breaking down of complex fats into small molecules is called emulsification. Emulsification. So it is a one mark question. What do you mean by emulsification? The process of breaking down of complex fats into small fat globules is called emulsification. This process is carried out by bile juice, which is secreted by liver. Okay. Then now this pancreas is also secreting its secretions which we call it as pancreatic juice. It contains amylase, trypsin and lipase, and further digestion is going to happen. It continues. So amylase will act on carbohydrate part, and trypsin will act on proteins part, and lipase will act on fats digestion. So to simplify this, so all the types of nutrients are just entered. So carbohydrates are not completely digested in one part of the digestive system. So the process of digestion of all the nutrients is going to happen in different parts of our digestive system. So it continues till it ends. The process of digestion is happening. Is it clear to children? So now here in the pancreas, this amylase, trypsin and lipase, okay, these are the digestive enzymes. So this amylase will act on carbohydrate part, whichever is formed in the what is that in the stomach or in the mouth, whatever the carbohydrate content, whichever is digested. Like the trypsin also. Trypsin will act on proteins and lipase will act on fats. So what are the end products here we are going to get? So when amylase acts on carbohydrates, so it will convert them to maltose sugar. Then trypsin will act on proteins and it will be converted to peptones. Lipase will act on fats and they will be converted to fatty acids. Fatty acids and glycerol. Is it clear to you? So amylase will act on the carbohydrate content of our food and it will be converted to maltose. Then trypsin enzyme will act on proteins and convert them to peptones. Then lipase will act on fats which are formed after the emulsification and convert them to fatty acids and glycerol. Is it clear to children? Then now what is going to happen after that process of digestion, whichever is formed here. So by the end of this process, the complete process of almost process of digestion is going to happen. Then through this sphincter muscles which are present here in the duodenum, the food is going to enter into highly coiled narrow tube-like structure which we call it as a small intestine. Small intestine. So by this is very much narrow and it is highly convoluted. So much of like this structures why we can observe here means because the end of the digestion is going to happen means the complete process of digesting the food material is going to be completed in the small intestine, and apart from that the absorption process of the food from the digestive system to the circulatory system is happening here. So that is the reason this small intestine is highly convoluted and very much narrow in nature. Then so even the small intestine is also secreting some kind of enzymes. So small intestine secretes so the small intestine is having glands which we call it as intestinal glands, and this is secreting digestive juice. Digestive juice, that is the intestinal juice. Intestinal juice. So this intestinal juice is also having the enzymes, and they are going to continue the further process of digestion, and they are going to act on the carbohydrates and proteins. Carbohydrates and proteins. Is it clear to you? Which are formed, they are going to be just further process of conversion is going to happen here. So carbohydrates are converted to peptides and maltose sugar. Okay, carbohydrates example, maltose sugars and lipase, whichever are formed here in the process of duodenum. So they are going to be converted, and proteins are also going to be converted. So peptones are formed here, so that peptones are going to be converted. So finally in the small intestine, the small intestine in the small intestine, so this juice secreted is called intestinal juice, which is also called as succus entericus. So it is having different enzymes and it is acting on the proteins and the carbohydrates whichever are formed in the reactions. So they will be converted to end products. So what are the end products here? Proteins are converted to amino acids. Is it clear to you? So the end products of digestion of proteins. Okay. So in different parts of the digestive system, the proteins are getting digested. But ultimately, finally, the end products of protein digestion are amino acids. Is it clear to children? Then the end products of carbohydrates are said to be, the end products of carbohydrates are glucose. Is it clear to children? So here the proteins are converted to amino acids and carbohydrates are converted to glucose, and fats are converted to fatty acids and glycerol. Is it clear to children? Fatty acids and glycerol are the end products of fat digestion, and carbohydrate end products are glucose, and protein end products are said to be amino acids. Is it clear to children? So in that way, the different parts are associated with the digestive system are going to bring the process of digestion, where breaking down of complex food into simple form. So complex carbohydrates, complex proteins, complex fats which are present in our diet what we are taking. So they are in complex form. So once they enter into the different parts of the digestive system, they are going to be converted to simple form, where that simple form can easily be absorbed by the cells. Is it clear to children? So as it is carbohydrates or proteins or fats, whatever we are taking, they will never be taken up by the cells. In which form? Simple form. So that simplification of complex food is happening in the digestive system by the action of digestive juices and their enzymes which are present. Is it clear to you? So in that way, the enzymes are acting on the different components of the food, and end products which are formed in the digestion are as follows. So carbohydrates are converted to glucose, which is said to be simple carbohydrate, and proteins are converted to amino acids, and fats are converted to fats. So fatty acids and glycerol. So fatty acids and glycerol are formed. Is it clear to children? So in that way, what are the end products of digestion? So please remember, glucose, amino acids and fatty acids and glycerol. So that is going to happen here. Then what you have to understand here? So here that small intestine, as you learned just now, it is said to be highly coiled tube, and the finger-like structures where you are observing, they contain large number of villi. The small intestine contain villi. Is it clear to you? Which are said to be finger-like projections, and these villi are richly supplied with blood vessels and the food whichever is in simple form, that is glucose, amino acids and fatty acids, from the walls of small intestine where it contains the finger-like structures called villi. Into that villi where they are richly supplied with blood vessels, the food which is digested or which is simplified is going to be entering into the blood. Is it clear to children? So that process we call it as that the simple form of food whichever is formed in the digestive system is going to enter into the blood. That process we call it as absorption. Okay. So this villi are richly supplied with blood vessels and they have the single layer of epithelial cells where the process of absorption of food is going to happen. Is it clear to children? So in that way here the process of digestion is happening. So now what are these parts? So this long tube. Is it not? So what do we call this one? This portion is called as a large intestine. Large intestine. So this structure is said to be large intestine. Okay? Ileum, jejunum, rectum and anus. So these are the important parts associated with the large intestine. So what is the function of this large intestine? So size, if we see, small intestine is highly convoluted and it is very much narrow in nature, whereas large intestine, its human size is very much larger. Is it clear to you? So small intestine walls, they contain glands which help in producing enzymes which will act on the digestion process. So here we are not observing there like that. So here the undigested food whichever it is formed at the end of digestion are going to enter into this large intestine, and here what is happening means the water content whichever is present is going to be absorbed by this walls of large intestine, and only undigested food material where our body does not require is going to be just processed. Okay, so it is solidified and it is going to be sent out of the body through rectum and anus. So undigested food is stored in the large intestine, and whenever we feel to defecate, so that will be sent out of the body through the anus. So the defecation, what is the last step of digestion? Defecation. What do you mean by it? The removal of undigested food material which our body does not require out of the body. That process is happening through the large intestine where it contains rectum and anus. So that process of eliminating the waste product out of the body is called as defecation. Is it clear to children? So in that way the process of digestion is going to happen in human beings in different parts of the digestive system, and the glands associated with and their secretions, they will act on the food and convert the complex food into simple form. Is it clear to children? So that's about your human digestion. So read this table, digestive enzymes in page number 15, and name of the enzyme or substance enzyme, and secreted by which part or which gland, secreted into is given, and what is the digestive juice present, and the digestive juice is going to act on which component of the food it is given, and end products are also given here. So this table you have to write in the classwork and learn the summary of this table. Is it clear to children? It is very, very important for your exam. Very important for your exam. Now you learned the process of digestion, how it is happening. Let us learn some questions, some answers for the questions children. So you remembered, I think, two words. One is said to be bolus and chyme. Bolus and chyme. So this question will be given for 2 marks. Write the differences between bolus and chyme like that. So what you are going to write, where this bolus and chyme are formed and how it will be, then where it will go, from where it is produced and where it will go. That points we have to take into consideration. Please take down the differences between the bolus and the chyme. So here food which is churned, food which is cut and crushed, cut and crushed by teeth. By teeth in the mouth, it is called bolus. So then here in food in the form of food in the form of soft porridge mass. Soft porridge mass. Okay. Now it is formed in the, where it is formed? Formed in mouth. Whereas chyme, it is formed in the stomach. It is formed in the stomach. So this bolus from mouth, it enters into stomach. Is it not? From stomach, it enters into small intestine. It enters into small intestine. Is it clear to children? So how it will be? This bolus, it is said to be slippery. Here the food mass, whichever soft porridge mass, it is slimy. Slimy in nature. Is it clear to you? So how this? The process by mastication. So how this process of mastication is done? With the help of teeth, then gums. Is it clear to you? And salivary juice, whichever is produced by the salivary glands, are going to break down that food. Is it clear to children? So that one we call it as a mastication. The process of cutting and crushing the food in the buccal cavity with the help of teeth is called mastication. Whereas here that chyme, how it is formed? By churning the food. By churning the food. How that churning process is happening? You learned the walls of stomach are having circular and longitudinal muscles. So once the food enters into the esophagus, the food is going to stay in the stomach for a longer period of time and it is going to have the movements. Is it clear to children? Which brings the process of churning of food. So in the stomach we are not going to observe so that is different components of food. So it is going to become soft mass. Is it clear to children? Soft porrid mass we are going to observe. So that process is called as a churning. So these are the differences between bolus and chyme. So in this lesson we learned how the process of digestion is happening in the human digestive system and differences between bolus and chyme, and the table which you are going to understand that different enzymes secreted by the different digestive glands, and those enzymes on what kind of food items they are going to act and what are the end products of digestion. So all that you have learnt. So in tomorrow's class you will learn about the health aspects. Okay, because our health always depends upon the nutritious balanced diet only. Okay, so if we are taking nutritious balanced diet, then it will help us to maintain good health. So if you are not taking that balanced nutritious diet or any one of the food items, if it is missing, obviously, or nutrients, any one of the nutrients is missing, it results in some aspects, okay, like malnutrition. So about all that and some malnutritional diseases we will learn in tomorrow's class. Thank you.